47% of Gen Z want a revolution.
Young people always rebel against the status quo.
But there's been a survey of Gen Z people recently, and the results are quite interesting, Nick, I think you'll find.
Right.
So Gen Z is 13 to 27-year-olds. I don't know why that's Gen Z.
I don't understand all this boomers and millennials.
I think you're a boomer.
I have no idea.
Gen Z are young people. You wouldn't understand.
No, I don't.
52% of Gen Z think the UK would be a better place with a strong leader in charge who doesn't have to bother with Parliament and elections. Do you think that's quite interesting? 52%.
I do.
So we're now talking about a majority of the young generation coming through.
This always happens. It's a pendulum. Young people always rebel against the status quo. For a long time, they were rebelling against conservatism and Victorian values, and that's why we got the woke stuff. But the woke stuff now is seen as a status quo. So young people now are rebelling against what they see, which is tolerance and compassion and all those other bollocks. So it doesn't surprise me that they're becoming more right wing.
And it's interesting because we were talking about, when we were at the Free Speech Union thing last week, we were talking about, or this week it was, I think, we were talking about how there was a strong Christian feeling to it. Apparently now as well, half are as likely to identify as atheists as their parents. So they're less likely to call themselves atheists now.
Again, because being Christian now is seen as counterculture.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be Christian.
Yeah, it's cool to be Christian.
And
yeah.
people online are cool and they're Christians, and it's the pendulum swinging to the other side.
That gave me some hope when I read those stats.
And again, if you look at young people, why would young people celebrate the status quo at the moment?
They wouldn't. It's just shit.
Their jobs are paid crap.
Yeah.
Full of immigrants.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
If you're a woman now, you've got men changing in front of you.
Yeah.
You can't afford to buy a house. You can't afford to rent somewhere to live. You're straddled with 50, 80 grand's worth of loans from university.
Yeah.
Your degree's worthless.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course they're going, well, I'm not supporting the status quo because there's nothing in this for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's speaking about women being in danger. There was a video, a YouTube article by that guy. I can't remember his name now. I like him. It's Modernity News, I think it's called. And it was showing films in Germany of women literally walking down the street. One case was a woman pushing a pram, and immigrants literally following them and saying, "You're attractive. I fancy you. Can I have a kiss?"
Yeah.
And one particular situation, one was sort of on her own on an estate. She was filming basically. And she was saying, please, in Germany, please leave me alone or whatever in German. And he was just guy following her, and he was a big black guy, and he looked quite scary. I mean, there was nobody around, and it's happening on the tube, men approaching women. Yep. You look sexy, can I kiss you? Can I, all that sort of stuff. It's just happening in the streets in Germany now. It's a horrific place for women to go out. Women are scared to be at bus stops on their own in Germany now.
This is because we've imported these cultures.
Yeah.
These men are not necessarily evil or sex offenders. This is just alien cultures to us.
Yeah.
And we don't want it in Europe, and the women don't like it in Europe.
No. This is a good one. I like this one. You won't like it. 47% of Gen Z want a revolution.
Young people have always wanted revolutions, and young people want revolutions because they don't understand history. And again, they want rid of the status quo. And wars and revolutions are young people's things. Because we always think we're going to live forever when we're young. It's exciting to be a young man fighting, or the ideas of fighting, being in the war. The realities are completely different. So that doesn't surprise me.
But what's good to hear, to know they've not been beaten by COVID and the crackdowns on the riots and all that jazz. The people still there. These young people still have a will.
Yep.
The will to change things, which is fantastic. They've not been broken by this grotty government, have they?
Young people are rarely broken, and that's where the future always lies. But they're beginning to rebel.
Yeah.